Hi Year 6, this is your Wednesday the 24th of February maths lesson. Still thinking about ratio, a little bit more practice. The thing with ratio, it goes from being sort of quite easy to being a little bit tricky quite quickly. So that's why we're doing plenty of practice. So first of all, we've got a little bit more of the same of what we've been looking at. This time it's tiles, and they want the proportion of patterned tiles. Okay, so my proportion of patterned tiles, let's do that first. So pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 patterned tiles. The proportion, you remember, is a fraction, isn't it? A fraction of a whole. So how many is in the whole? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So my proportion of patterned tiles is 5 out of 10. Now, as Mrs. Stubbs has told you, and as I've told you, always simplify. Hopefully you know that 5/10 is a half, but if not, you could have done 10 divided by 5 is 2, 5 divided by 5 is 1. So that's my proportion bit done. Now we're being asked for the ratio of patterned tiles to plain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 patterned tiles to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plain. Now you still need to simplify. This one you can actually simplify to 1 to 1. Okay, because I can divide both of them by 5. Works in exactly the same way when you're simplifying a ratio as it does when you're simplifying a fraction. So as I said, it can get a little bit tricky, but hopefully we've done enough practice as this won't be too difficult for you. I don't want to do any more because you've only got 4 more to do. Okay, I'd like you to have a go at those yourself, but just always read carefully. It's always the proportion of patterned tiles, then it's the ratio of patterned to plain. So make sure you put patterned first. Okay, hopefully that won't be too tricky. Now this part at the bottom of the sheet is a little bit more tricky. So I'm going to show you this bit here. Okay, we don't need to worry about that there because we're not in school. Here we have got a ratio of blue to orange tiles. Now every time you have some blue, you have the ratio of blue to orange is 3 to 5. So every time I have 3 blue, I have 5 orange. And this is what I say about it starting to get a little bit more tricky now. Ratio is how one part relates to the other part, but they're giving us the totals here. So they're saying if there is a total of 16 tiles, how many do you have of each? Okay, so let's have a little look. At the moment, I've only got 8. So to get up to 16, I'm going to need 3 more blue and 5 more orange. And let's just have a little check here. So I've got 3, 8 is my total here. This is my cumulative total. And then if I've then got another 8, I've got myself up to 16 tiles. So every time I have 3 blue, 5 orange. Every time I have 3 blue, 5 orange. Now I've got 16 in total. How many? Write the number of orange tiles in each set. So my answer for number 6, well, how many orange tiles have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So my answer to number 6 that I was writing in my book is that I've actually got 10 orange tiles. And that's there for number 6. If you're trying to get up to 24 tiles, well, I'm going to need to have, aren't I, another 3 blue and then another 5 orange. And I know that that has taken me up to 24 tiles. So if I'm going up to 24 tiles, how many orange? Well, I've got 5, 10, 15 orange. So my answer to number 9 would be 15 orange tiles. Now this is all okay when I can draw it out or I can think of it in my head. So just those 4, if you're not feeling that confident, have a go at, because they're actually pretty tricky. These 2 over here are much more tricky. Leave those if you're unsure, and those are much more for Mrs. Stubbs's groups, and she's going to show you now how to do those more tricky ones. Okay, good luck Year 6.
Okay, so obviously you can have a go at these, and you could in your books maybe draw out the tiles, which would help. we've used the cubes here. But if we look to the questions at the end, obviously this one is 800 tiles and this one 320. Now we would be a long time setting all that out, and not only that, we haven't got enough cubes. So I'm not going to use the cubes. I'm going to show you another method that you can use, and it is quite tricky. So don't worry if you don't understand it at first. To be honest, I have to sit and think about this too. All right, so if we look at this one, I'll do number 8, the 800 tiles. Now I know that my ratio of orange to blue tiles is 3 to 5. For every 3 orange tiles, I must have 5 blue. Now all together in my pattern, that is 8 tiles. Okay. Now if I've got 800 tiles, and I know in that each sort of set of ratio there are 8 tiles, how could I find out what one of these is worth? Well, I could divide. If I divide my 800 by 8, I'm not going to bother to set it out as a bus stop, because hopefully you can just do this in your head. 800 divided by 8 is 100 tiles, which means that every one of these is worth 100. So if I go back to my ratio, orange tiles to blue tiles, if I want to know how many 3 is worth, remember one of them is worth 100. So look, if I just times it by the 100, that will tell me that that comes to 300 tiles. Sorry, I'm not using my squares very well, but... And this one, again, do exactly the same. So I'm keeping the ratio the same. Okay, multiply it out. 500, okay? And you'll notice that the total number of tiles here is 800. 300 plus 500. Okay, so that's one way, a quicker way, if you've got large numbers and you're trying to work out number of orange tiles or the number of blue tiles. This has asked me for the number of orange tiles, so for this question it would be that there'd be 300 orange tiles. Okay, now hopefully you can see this one came to 8. If I had, I'd have to sort of do it 100 times, wouldn't I, to get to this 800. Okay, I'm going to show you with another example. This is more of a sort of an everyday life one, I guess, for the next question that we're going to look at. It will be the same method. As I say, it is tricky, so don't worry if you can't do it. Oh, it's here, sorry, it's in the wrong place. This is about creating, mixing paint, and we've got red paint and blue paint because the colour that they want is purple. So to make this purple paint, they're going to use 2 parts red and 3 parts blue. So imagine, I don't know, if you were mixing it in tins or cupfuls, for every 2 tins of red paint that you use, you would have to use 3 tins of blue paint. And you do need to keep your ratio the same, because obviously if you started changing it, your purple would be maybe more bluish or more reddish. Okay, so it's important that we keep this ratio the same, all right? Okay, so let's have a little look. Now 15 tins. So I could, for this one, because it's quite a low number, I could put it out. I could draw tins of paint or something and colour them. But I'm going to show you the method that I used before, okay? So 2 to 3 is my ratio. That gives me altogether 5 parts, they've called it, 5 parts of paint. Okay. Now what if it was 15? Well, I'm going to find out what 1 part would be worth. So I'm going to do 15 divided by 5, which is 3. Okay, so 1 part of the paint is worth 3. So here we are. If I go back to my original ratio of 2 to 3, I'm going to times that by 3, because that's what that came to. I'm going to times this one by 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. And hopefully you can see 6 add 9 gives me my 15 tins. All right, so the way to do it is to look for your original ratio. You're going to add them together, look at your number, divide it by the total number of parts. That will tell you how much one of the parts is worth. And then just multiply out your original ratio. Okay, so don't worry if you get a bit confused. I get a bit confused too. So we can go through this again when we get back to school, but just have a go. See if you can follow that method and then apply it to these questions here. Okay, and then just a final, sort of a fun activity really that I think anyone can have a go at actually. It's not necessarily if you're in one of my groups, it's just a little bit of investigating. They're saying investigate the ratio of vowels to consonant in your name. Well, I'm going to actually do William's name. So if I write his name down, William. Now remember they've said the ratio of vowels to consonants. It's important to get it the right way round. So I'm just going to put V to C just to remind myself. So the vowels, he's got the A, E, I, O, U. So he's got 1, 2, 3 vowels in his name. And how many consonants? 1, 2, 3, 4. So the ratio of vowels to consonants in William's name is 3 to 4. And actually, I can't simplify that anymore. That's as low as it can go. So that's it for him. I'm going to do Lizzie's now because it says about your friends' names. I'm just doing my children's names. Okay, so here we are. Lizzie. So again, same way round, vowels to consonants. So she's got 1, 2, 3 vowels and 1, 2, 3 consonants. So actually I could simplify that, couldn't I? I could write that in a simpler way, obviously both in the 3 times table. So I'm going to divide that by 3, which would give me 1, and this by 3 gives me 1. So the ratio of vowels to consonants for Lizzie is 1 to 1. So for every vowel, she's got a consonant. They match identically here. All right, whereas William, for every 3 vowels, there are 4 consonants. So you could have a go at that, doing it with the names of friends and other pupils in the class. So good luck, Year 6.